Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. Come to live and direct from the Newsfirst studios here in Colombo. I'm Bernadine Jayasingha. Good evening, Tharusha.
Good evening, Bernadine. Just before we start off, let's take a look at your headline making news this evening.
Minister Tilak Marapana discusses open Indo-Pacific policy with America. A threat to Sri Lanka is a threat to India. Indian High Commissioner shows support to fight against terrorism. Parliamentary subcommittee inspects Batticlaw campus. 2 more members of the National Tawhid Jamaat arrested in Horopatana.
Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is currently in the United States, engaged in several diplomatic discussions.
Minister Tilak Marapana met with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Washington this morning. According to the communique, Secretary Michael R. Pompeo reiterated the United States' condemnation of the attacks that Sri Lanka suffered last month, which also killed 5 Americans, and a strong US support for Sri Lanka in its fight against terrorism. It adds that Foreign Minister Marapana noted appreciation for US support in the aftermath of the bombing and conveyed Sri Lanka's interest in deepening cooperation to prevent further attacks. The US State Department said both parties welcomed the approval of a $480 million Millennium Challenge Cooperation Compact as an important development that will contribute to prosperity and economic sovereignty in Sri Lanka. It also said Secretary Pompeo also welcomed Sri Lanka's renewed commitments to accountability, justice and reconciliation. Minister Tilak Marapana also met with the US National Security Advisor John Bolton on Wednesday. In a tweet, John Bolton said, quote, met with Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Marapana to reiterate US resolve to strengthen counter-terrorism cooperation and to bring justice to those behind the despicable Easter Day attacks. We also pledge to deepen our partnership to advance our shared goal of a free and open Indo-Pacific, end quote. Also, the US Embassy in Colombo tweeted that the Undersecretary for Political Affairs, David Hale, and Sri Lankan Foreign Minister Tilak Marapana co-chaired the 3rd US-Sri Lanka Partnership Dialogue. The dialogue reaffirmed the strong bilateral relationship and commitment between the country to open a free and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. Meanwhile, on the 15th, Sri Lankan Foreign Secretary Ravinatha Arisinghe engaged in a discussion on broadening United States and Indo-Pacific partnership on counterterrorism and security, creating conditions for economic prosperity and advancing good governance and human rights. He met with Thomas L. Wajda, the Acting Deputy Assistant Secretary for Security and Transnational Affairs in the Bureau of South and Central Asian Affairs.
In your headline making news now, Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka Taranjit Singh Sandhu offered India's full support to Sri Lanka in dealing with the common threat of jihadi terrorism.
On 21st, Sri Lanka witnessed brutal, poisonous jihadi terror in which many innocent people died, including 11 Indians. India stands strongly and firmly with Sri Lankan brothers and sisters during this period. Any threat to Sri Lanka is seen as a threat to India, and we will fight this jihadi ideology and jihadi terror together, shoulder to shoulder with you.
The Indian High Commissioner paid respects at the Temple of the Tooth Relic and received the blessings of the Most Venerable Tippaduwawe Sri Sumangala Thera of the Malwatu chapter and Most Venerable Varkagoda Sri Yananathana Thera of the Askari chapter in Kandy.
Leaf of the Guli tree.
The High Commissioner discussed the prevailing security situations with the Most Venerable Mahanayaka Theras.
When the Foreign Minister met with the US State Secretary, they both commended the granting of $480 million to Sri Lanka under the Millennium Challenge Corporation. It was previously stated that the funds were granted to renovate plots of land that could attract investors and develop transport facilities.
But however, Bernadine, many parties pointed out that certain ulterior motives behind the proposal. This is the statement President Maithripala Sirisena made on the matter on the 28th of October.
Another is the Land Ordinance Special Act, which was presented to Cabinet last week. Then there was the paper on establishing a land bank. I lodged strong protests and postponed those cabinet papers. A majority of cabinet ministers were against these proposals. If the last week's Land Ordinance Special Act was passed by the cabinet and then by Parliament, all the lands of our motherland could be brought outright by foreigners without any difficulty. All the agricultural settlements established by honourable leaders like D.S.N. Nayaka, Bandaranayaka and Gamini Dissanayaka will be destroyed. This bill that was presented to adversely affect the land rights of the country must be totally blocked by us.
The State Vesak Festival began today under the auspices of President Maithripala Sirisena. The State Vesak Festival is being held at the Totagama Purana Ratpat Rajamaha Vihara in Hikkarua, Gaul. The President, who arrived at the Vihara this morning, engaged in religious observances and obtained blessings. The President also unveiled a plaque declaring the Totagama Purana Ratpat Rajamaha Vihara as a sacred city. The deeds and epistle were presented to the three chief incumbents of the Vihara. Meanwhile, a council of the Balapitiya Pradesh Sabha, Venerable Balapitiya Dhammika Thero, delivering an unscheduled address on stage, expressed the following views.
Honourable Minister, you are our minister. Please tell us if this country is a Sinhalese Buddhist country or not. We remind you of this most respectively. We, the Mahasangha, give to the President this document signed by thousands, asking for the release of Yana Sarathero and our war heroes on this Vesak Day. This is a document in this file regarding the development of Sunday schools at your Viharaya. I will look into that. Beyond that, we will fulfill all our duties.
Speaking at the event, the President said that quarrelling amongst each other will lead to the terrorist ambitions being realized.
Terrorism created by extremist religious teachings, international terrorist organizations, drug smuggling and arms smuggling. All of this are seen going along the same path. So no matter what criticisms are leveled against myself or the government regarding this, we will always work according to our conscience. We have worked according to our conscience. False news is fast spreading among the society. The truth travels slow. No matter the challenges, we did everything that we could as a government to suppress terrorism after the 21st of April attacks. We have results now to show. It is because of those results that the terrorists could not carry out another attack after the 21st. The Triforces, the intelligence units and the police have shown their expertise.
Let's now take a look at how Sri Lankans are making preparations for the Vesak celebrations this year.
A dancela organized by the Businessmen Organization of the Central Market started the Vesak celebrations in the candy town, which is lit up with many Vesak lanterns. Many areas in Colombo were also beautifully decorated for the Vesak celebration. This is how the Bodhi Rajamavata in Petta was decorated for Vesak. The Anuradhapura town was also made colourful for the season, and this year was the 11th time the pandal construction opposite the new bus halt was opened.
I
think the Buddhist saying that hate cannot be defeated by hate is a very important thing at this time. This is our message to you this Vesak season. Come and visit our holy Buddhist places for worship and listen to the preaching and bana and obtain sil. Attend all these activities. You have no obstacles in doing any of these.
දේශනා පැවැත්වීම මේ වගේ දේවල් සිදු කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒවට අවහිරයක් නැහැ.
අද මේ තත්ත්වයේ මේ රටේ ඇති වුණේ වෙන කිසිවක් නිසා නොවේ. මේ රටේ පටු දේශපාලන වාසි ලබා ගැනීමේ අරමුණේ.
This situation in the country was created by political forces who seek to achieve their narrow political objectives and the forces who seek to nourish religious extremism. On the holy day of Vesak, let us be determined to achieve the peace, unity and brotherhood to live together in this country.
අදිෂ්ඨාන කරගනිමු.
A communique has been issued by the Director General of the Government Information Department specifying several rules, regulations and relevant sections for the attention of the general public owing to the prevailing situation in the country. The release is as follows.
According to the Emergency Regulation number 1 of 2019, quote, no person shall by word of mouth or by any other means whatsoever communicate, disseminate or spread any rumors or false statements which is likely to cause public alarm or public disorder, unquote. Any person acting in contravention of the above regulation is liable to be punished on conviction after trial before a high court or a magistrate's court with an imprisonment of no less than 3 months and not exceeding 5 years and a fine. The release further notes, under the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights Act number 56 of 2007, quote, no person shall propagate war or advocate national, racial or religious hatred that constitutes incitement to discrimination, hostility or violence, unquote. Any contravention of the above entails a punishment on conviction after trial before a high court to a rigorous imprisonment not exceeding 10 years. And finally, under the Prevention of Terrorism Act number 48 of 1979, any person who by words either spoken or intended to be read out, by signs or by visible representations or otherwise, causes or intends to cause commission of acts of violence or religious, racial or communal disharmony or feelings of ill will or hostility between different communities or racial or religious groups shall be guilty of an offence and on conviction after trial before a high court could be liable to a term of imprisonment not less than 5 years and not exceeding 20 years.
Now, Director General of the Department of Government Information said the temporary ban on social media, including Facebook and WhatsApp, has been lifted. In more local news now, the report of the third phase of the Gum at the Door-to-Door initiative was presented to the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askeri chapters today.
High-ranking officials of the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited met with the chief prelates of the Malwatu and Askeri chapters today. Professor Tilak Bandara from the Peradeniya University, who compiled the report, was also present. The group of officials who met the chief prelate of the Malwatu chapter, Most Venerable Tibatuave Sri Sumangala Thero, handed over the report and informed the Thero of the Gum at the initiative.
ජනතාව රැස් කළා ඒගොල්ලෝ තමයි හොඳටම දන්නේ මහානායකතුමා ගමේ දැන් ඔය අලිවැටවල් කියන්නේ වැටවල් දිනලා දැන් අපේ අමුතුවෙන් දකින්න දෙයක් තමයි විශේෂයෙන්ම ගම්ම අපිට කියනවා කැලෑවල් තියෙනවානේ ඒවායේ වටේට ගස් තියෙනවා මැද්දේ ඒවා මේ ගස් කපලා කෙහෙල් අරන් එහෙම පිටවල එතකොට ඒවායේ අලි ඉන්නත් බෑ ඊට පස්සේ අලි ගම් වලට යනවා ඒක තමයි ලොකුම ප්‍රශ්නේ.
Afterwards, our team met with the chief prelate of the Askeri chapter, Most Venerable Varakagoda Gnanaratna Thero. A report of the third phase of the Gum at the Door-to-Door program was also handed to the Thero.
මේ වැඩසටහනේ තියෙන විශේෂත්වයක් තමයි කිසිම දේශපාලනයක අපි සහභාගී කරගත්තේ නැහැ මහානායකතුමා.
Security forces are continuing their search operations across the island.
The abandoned well was searched by the Sri Lanka Army in Pahala Galhitiya Gama, Nikavarattiya this evening. They discovered 500 grams of C4 explosives, a detonator and 2 magazines with 60 T-56 bullets. The seized items were handed over to the police for further investigations. 2 members of the National Tawheed Jamaat who maintained close connections with the suicide bomber who attacked the Cinnamon Grand Hotel were arrested last night in Pattava, Horopatana. The suspects were arrested based on an information received by the Western Province Intelligence Unit. They are residents of the area aged 56 and 47. One of the suspects is a principal at a school in Horopatana, while the other suspect is a teacher. Police intelligence reports suggest that the suspects had attended a number of extremist seminars conducted in Colombo. Court granted permission to the police to detain and question the suspects for 72 hours.
Both of the suspects are residents of the address in Pattava Horopotana Police Division in Pattava Kapugola. One suspect is Nur Mohammadu Abdrasul and the other is Abdul Jabbar Nijam. When the suspects were arrested, the police STF is assisting in searching the houses of the suspect. The suspects have been detained and investigations are underway.
Now, the OIC of the Vallampitiya Police informed the Colombo Additional Magistrate Priyantha Liyanage about the investigation progress on the copper factory.
The OIC informed court today that 3 cheques valued at 7.5 million rupees was found in the possession of Karupaya Rajendran alias Abdullah, the owner of the Vallampitiya copper factory. Abdullah is an employee at the copper factory owned by the Shangri-La suicide bomber Insaf Ahmed. The OIC of the Vallampitiya police informed court that the suspects maintained close ties with the owner of the factory. He added that it was revealed that the owner of the copper factory had given Karupaya Rajendran 200,000 rupees to host his wedding ceremony. The OIC said that the Terrorist Investigations Division has also launched an investigation into the suspected Tamil national. The additional magistrate ordered for the suspect to be remanded until the 30th of this month. Meanwhile, courts ordered for report on the call logs on 10 phone numbers contacted by the 9 suspects who were released on bail on the 6th of this month. The additional magistrate also ordered state and private banks to hand in reports on the bank accounts of the 10 suspects to the Vallampitiya police. The Vallampitiya police are conducting further investigations into the copper factory, while one of 3 employees at the factory who has fled the area was arrested in Mavanala and produced in court. The suspect was remanded until the 31st. Meanwhile, Mohammad Nilam Mohammad Ahmed, who had in his cell phone video footage of the 8 explosions that were triggered on the 21st of April, was remanded until the 10th of June. He was produced before the Colombo Additional Magistrate today.
Chairman of the Veligama Urban Council, Rehandi Vijayratna Jayavikrama, had been summoned to the UNP headquarters, the Sitikota, today.
The General Secretary of the United National Party, Akhila Viraj Karyavasam, had summoned Rehan Jayavikrama to inquire regarding a letter submitted to the Prime Minister recently. In that letter, he pointed out that the people expect the leadership of Sajid Premadasa. The General Secretary said that he needs to discuss about a letter that I have submitted to the Prime Minister. This is not part of any disciplinary action. For the love and respect I have towards the General Secretary and the United National Party, I came to provide answers. I told them what I had to say. I presented the people's mandate. I believe that I did not state anything beyond the mandate of the people. Even if any disciplinary action is taken against me, or even if I go home, my stance will not change. My grandfather, MP Ranjan Vijayratna, breathed his last on the road on behalf of the UNP. My other grandfather, Montigo Jayavikrama, engaged in politics for 40 years. As an heir to politics, I will serve my people. Meanwhile, the General Secretary had summoned a group of UNP MPs representing the Veligama Municipal Council today.
අපි දන්නේ ඇයි කියලා දන්නේ අපි ඉතින් කැඳවනවා ගම්වල තියෙන වැඩ කොටස් ගැන සාකච්ඡා කරනවා අද දවසේ මම හිතන්නේ දන්නේ ඇත්තට ලේකම්තුමා කැඳවීමක් කරොත් අපි එනවා අපිට ඉතින් දැනුම් දෙන්න අපි දන්නේ කිසිම දෙයක් දන්නේ
සභාපතිතුමාත් ඇවිල්ලා ඇති සමහර විට ලේකම්තුමාගේ කැඳවීමට මලා වෙනමද කැඳවන්නේ එහෙම සමහර විට ඒ අපි සාකච්ඡාව ආරේදී එකට තියාගන්න අද මොකෝ මේ කාවරි හම්බෙන්නද නෑ අපි වෙන වැඩක් අපිට මන්ත්‍රීවරු කොහෙද එහෙම මොකක්ද ජල්බරියක් දන්නේ නෑ ගැටලුවක් විසඳගන්නද ඔබතුමාලා නෑ
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the UNP had inquired further details regarding the letter of the chairman from the MPs of the Veligama Urban Council. They have been informed to submit details on this in writing. We report, you decide.
Now, as mentioned in the headlines, parliamentarians in the Sectoral Oversight Committee on Education and Human Resources Development visited the Batiklo campus today.
The Batik campus, located in Poonani, was the subject of much controversy among the general public. Though the MPs led by Chairman of the Subcommittee on Higher Education, Professor Ashumar Singha, entered the premises, the media was denied entry. However, following the intervention of Venerable Dimbulgala Rahulankarathero, the media was granted entry.
We will call in various other state institutions and further discuss on this next week. The report on the inspection will be presented to Parliament. Within 6 weeks after it is presented to Parliament, it will be presented to the Cabinet, and the Parliament should be informed of the steps that will be taken. This is the procedure. The first request is submitted in July 2015 by the then Deputy Minister Hizbullah in his capacity as the chairman. He requested to grant permission to function as an educational institute.
I
presented this as a private MP's motion, and together with the government, we asked if the director board and the chairman would agree to run this with the government as a private-public partnership. As a PPP university, as a policy, we are of the stance that this institution is suitable for any education activity except for religious education. We have officially handed over 9 subjects to the Ministry of Higher Education. See if the subject Sharia was mentioned there. We have not said that Sharia or Islam will be taught. No religious subjects will be taught. If religious subjects are being taught, it will be done after receiving approval from the Ministry of Higher Education. We have officially taken a loan of 3,600 million rupees through the Bank of Ceylon for an institution in Saudi Arabia named Juf Ali. We have taken a loan from this institution officially. Every rupee that we spent from this 3,600 million rupees has been presented to the Inland Revenue Department every year. This cannot be taken over by the government legally. They do not have any right. This is a private institution. They cannot take it over without gazetting it. If the government presents a proposal on how this could be done, we are willing to discuss with them.
Journalists questioned Hizbullah over his connections with Zaharan, who was responsible for the April 21st attacks.
Actually speaking, I have no connection to Zaharan. I met him just once, and that was during the general elections in 2015. During elections, we meet all religious leaders, and he was also the leader of the National Tawheed Jamaat. I met him. All parties were present there, but at the previous presidential election, he worked against me. He spoke out at mosques against my candidate to defeat him. He worked against me.
The International Monetary Fund stated that it will hold its forecast for Sri Lanka's 2019 economic growth at 3.5% in spite of the devastating April 21st bombings, citing that it was too early to assess financial damage.
Reuters reported that IMF mission chief for Sri Lanka, Manuela Goretti, said the extension of the $1.5 billion extended fund facility to June 2020 would be given the chance for authorities to achieve the target laid out in the program. IMF officials also believe Sri Lanka's economy will normalize parallel to the security situation. The report added that IMF also remained positive of Sri Lanka's debt repayment capacity, as immediately after the attack, market pressure in the country has remained contained.
Now, another village constructed under the Samata 7 program in Mahakandiya in Uhana Ampar was vested with the public under the auspices of Minister of Housing, Construction, Cultural Affairs and the Deputy Leader of the UNP, Sajid Premadasa.
This housing project is the 187th village constructed under the Samata 7 initiative. 23.4 million rupees was spent for the construction of this village, named as Digavavpura, and it comprises of 27 houses. Minister Sajid Premadasa distributed ownership deeds, Visiri, Sondurupiyasa and Virusumithuru housing loans, as well as various technical equipment and spectacles under the Shilpa Savya program. To the few minority groups who engage in brutal acts in our country, I would like to say not to commit such foolish acts. What was the end result of Black July in '83? The LTTE, which was a small cadre, became a massive force with tens of thousands of fighters. Today it is 2019, and haven't we learnt a lesson from the Black July? Are we still in the '83 mentality? Isn't it a foolish act to create a false Sinhala-Muslim division? So if that happens, justice will not be served for the innocent people who sacrificed their lives in churches and hotels. The only best option to serve justice for those innocent lives is to eradicate ISIS terrorism.
According to the central bank, manufacturing activities in the country contracted, recording the all-time low index value of 41.0 in April 2019, with a decline of 25.9 index points from March 2019.
Manufacturing activities contracted, recorded the all-time low index value of 41 in April of 2019. 4.5 index points lower than the manufacturing PMI of 45.5 in April last year. The contraction of PMI in April was largely attributable to the contraction in production and new orders, a trend in line with the pattern observed in previous years. The decline was further aggravated by the adverse impact caused by the April 21st attacks, restricted working hours due to security concerns, imposition of island-wide curfew, intermittent power cuts, as well as long vacations. Employment also dropped significantly as a high number of employees were absent after the New Year holidays. The services sectors deteriorated in April of 2019, recording an index value of 45.3, 7.9 index points lower than the service sector PMI of 53.2 in April last year. This is the first time that the services PMI recorded a value below the neutral 50.0 threshold, signaling overall deterioration in the services sector.
Now, a weekend newspaper reported on the incident where attempts were made to transfer money to Sri Lanka Cricket for the granting of broadcasting rights to another account based on a report compiled by an audit firm.
The newspaper reported that the email requesting the transfer of the money to a foreign account was sent by the official email account of the head of the financial division of Sri Lanka Cricket. However, the exact computer used to send the email has not yet been identified. The institution that conducted an audit on the matter said it does not appear that a cyber attack had been launched on the said email account. Sri Lanka Cricket previously raised suspicion that such an attack would have been the case. It has been more than 8 months since we revealed details of an attempt to transfer money due to Sri Lanka Cricket to another account. However, Sri Lanka Cricket to date has not confirmed that the foreign accounts that the money was to be transferred to does not belong to SLC. It is also interesting that the 2 foreign bank accounts have been registered under the name Sri Lanka Cricket. The account numbers of one Mexican account with US dollars and another bank account were among the suspicious accounts. These incidents of money due to Sri Lanka Cricket for broadcasting rights being transferred to another account gives rise to many questions. Informing the institutions that is paying for the broadcasting rights to transfer the money to another account simply to evade the payment of taxes to the government of Sri Lanka is a violation of the law. Section 189 of the Inland Revenue Act number 24 of 2017 clearly states the penalty for anyone convicted of evading or attempting to evade payment of taxes. Did the official who directed this institution to transfer the money due to SLC to an external account violate the country's laws on taxation? Can we be certain that such illicit transactions had not taken place at Sri Lanka Cricket in the past? Director General of the Inland Revenue Department, Nadun Guruge, this is over to you.
With that, we wrap up Prime Time News.
And remember, to stay ahead, you need to stay close to News First. For that, just simply log on to our website, that is www.newsfirst.lk. Bringing you the news, I'm Parusha Kumar Singha.
And I'm Bernadine Singha. Good night. Take care.